It was on the agenda, so I hesitated not to react. Good morning, Kyle Campbell, Interim Director of Planning. Four of the positions that were outlined in the Gazette this morning were directly related to the Planning Department. I currently oversee three separate divisions: Real Estate Services, the Development Review Enterprise, and Land Use Review. Three of those positions were in the Development Review Enterprise, and one of those positions was in Land Use Review. As Laura indicated, these were tough decisions. These were good staff, but when I was tasked with evaluating and looking at the policies and procedures for moving items through these various departments, my goal was to go through and sort of tear everything apart, look at the services that were being provided, look at the staffing that we had, and see how the staffing levels then lined up with those services. When I got to the end of that particular exercise over a several month period, it became very evident that there was a definite need to take a look at collapsing some of the middle and upper management levels in order to realign and in order to provide full staffing support for the projects moving through the various points of the process. And so while those decisions were difficult, they were needed, and so we did move forward with those. I will tell you that those four staff members are currently in a 45-day period right now, working with me directly on transitioning, as the article indicated, that their end of employment will be within that first week in October. I do want to clarify very specifically that in the Gazette it was reported or insinuated that there might have been some connection between Brett Veltman's dismissal or his position being eliminated and the Dublin townhomes. That was never a factor in this particular decision. These decisions were not based upon anything other than looking at the most efficient and effective overall structure for the organization moving forward. With those four positions, two vacant positions were also eliminated, two administrative support positions, one in Development Review Enterprise and one in Land Use Review, for a total of 6. And then 3 other positions are being realigned. My goal was pretty simple. With the financial straits that the city has been in over the years, there were a number of interim positions that were filled, and my goal was to eliminate all those interim positions and find permanent locations for those employees, whether that meant taking a step back or solidifying that interim position that they are in needs to be carried forward. And so 3 positions are moving forward in that respect. A couple other items that I did want to bring up as it relates to some of the measures moving forward in order to make this the most business-friendly city in the country. One of which, what we implemented about 6 weeks ago, was an overall reduction in initial review times. So for property owners, for businesses, for developers, we are looking on average about a 35% reduction in overall initial review times for those entitlement documents that must work their way through the process. Those have been implemented, and so if you were to come into the city and you were to propose a new office building, historically it would have taken 6 weeks to get through that initial review time. Those have been reduced down to 4 weeks. The overall general effort was to realign. The city has a rapid response program that is currently implemented and very successful, and this was to essentially recognize that every owner, every business needs to be recognized and needs to get that same level of rapid response treatment. So that was one of the initial efforts that we're moving forward with. As we began to analyze a lot of the time tracking data, which was a new procedure that was implemented about 1.5 years ago, where employees were asked to actually track their time as it related to specific projects, what became very evident as the information came out is that staff was being very, very efficient in their reviews. I think during the downtime, as fewer and fewer projects came in, staff was really focused on getting those projects through the system as quickly as they could. And so what happened is there became a disconnect between the application fees that were being charged to the business owners and to the developers and the time actually being spent. And so as we head into next year, what's been included in next year's budget is a 50% reduction in all major land development applications. And so there'll be more details coming through as we take this forward to City Council for their approval. But with the information that we've been able to obtain with the time tracking data, like I said, it became very evident that we needed to more closely align the services being provided with the fees being charged. And so we'll move forward with more details on that.